dream of it. The dreams won't stop. Its putrid, rotten smell staining your nostrils even as you sleep. Night after night it calls you, it challenges you, wishes to bring your fate, your corruption, your death and decay as it's brought across all the land it has touched. Awake, warrior, and push back this evil once again.
What's up, gamers? Welcome to GameStar Nation. My name is Rob, and today, in this video right here, I'm going to teach you how to get to and through the swamps, and therefore the Iron Age in Valheim. Now, this is the third video in my tutorial series. The first one covering the meadows and the first boss, Atgeir, which gives you access to the pick. My second video covered the Black Forest and the boss Elder, giving you the swamp key, which is going to be crucial in getting iron. You'll need the swamp key for the sunken crypts that we'll be looking for. So one thing this video assumes is that you have a full set of at least troll armor. In this case, I've set myself up with just barely upgraded armor, just to show you that it can be done relatively simply. So I've got level 2, which is to upgrade each piece just one time of troll armor. If you have bronze armor, you'll be even a bit better off. I do have a fully upgraded finewood bow, but other than that, all my other armors and weapons are just upgraded once. You know, the tools maybe max, but the armor and weapons have only been upgraded once. So if you were to use the same gear, but upgrade everything even one more than I have, you'll be even better off. It'll be even easier. Now, another thing you're gonna need is arrows, lots of them. I've got over 200 fire arrows. To be honest, fire arrows are a poor choice for the swamp, but I got a bunch of them, so I'm gonna go ahead and use them anyways. But bring wood arrows, bring flint arrows. I wouldn't waste bronze on bronze arrows. Flint arrows is about as good arrows you'll need for the swamps. Wood arrows do just fine. Good food, though, is going to be an important part of survival. So I've got some deer stew, give us that health bump. I've got queen's jam to give us a bunch of stamina. And then I've got carrot soup if we want more stamina, or we can go with some boar jerky to give us even balance. So I've got 4 different items to kind of choose based on the situation, but bring at least 3 good quality foods with you. A good protein, good stamina, and the third one's up to you. If you want to swing more health, chance survival, or stamina. But in the swamps, stamina is, I don't want to say more important than health because you need health to survive, but running out of stamina, and it could definitely equal an early demise. And as always, I have upgraded the house. This is the same house as previous videos. We built kind of a deck over there for the portal. Got a little forge and some forge upgrades out here on the new dock. Of course, the reason to have a dock is to have boat. And then if we head inside, I've added some details to the outside. We've actually made it bigger again. We got our table here with our treasures. Our table and cabinets. We got our workbench, chests, our fireplace, of course, and our bed. That's pretty much it. Now, I know it would be, most of you would choose to mount Atgeir's head there instead of a standard deer, but I'm just looking for a humble little cabin, I'm just going for that feel, not really necessarily a monster hunter's cabin. You don't have to show off, When you're good, you don't have to show it. Now, unfortunately, when I picked this world, I did no research. I just grabbed a random seed, and this one doesn't really appear to have any swamps close by, which is not unusual. Swamps are rarely found in a starting zone, but I had the same problem with the Black Forest, and we may have the same problem with the mountains and so on. So we are going to have to do what we always have to do, and that is to get out there and explore. Now, of course, we've got a car this time around. Last video we started off with a raft, and that's always kind of a slow nightmare, but this time we're not too bad off. The Carve is actually a really nice vessel, nice ship. It's got a good speed to it. It's very maneuverable, probably the most agile of the boats in the game, and it can take some abuse. So if we come across a Sea Serpent, we'll be able to hold our own. Looky what we have here. Those creepy dead trees are a sure sign that we found a swamp. It's exactly what you want to look for while you're sailing looking for a swamp. Look for those big, tall, dead trees. When you find them, you know you're there. Okay, we don't want to really just go charging right in. We're going to kind of skim by the side here and get a look. See what we can find. Some skeletons. Swamp skeletons are just like normal skeletons. They're no more dangerous than others. But those other ones behind them, those are draugrs. Those are very dangerous. They hit like a mule kicks, and very careful for them. Also in the water are leeches. Leeches will both have a powerful bite as well as are poisonous. If they bite you, it will poison you, and it is a pretty deadly toxin. It's far more deadly than shamans. You definitely want to avoid it whenever possible. Okay, I'll be honest, this spot looks kind of clear. I don't see too many mobs here. We're gonna go ahead and bring her on in. Let's begin our adventure. Okay, mark the map so we know where to find our boat. Although I'm kind of rammed up really kind of far on shore. It might make for a tough getaway, so let's scoot this back a little bit in the water. So if we need to get out of here quick, we can. In fact, if you want to be safe and take the time to come in backwards so you can sail straight out, it's a good idea. Okay, I'm gonna head this way because I see some glowing torches. Yeah, so this is not gonna be anything. This is just gonna be like ruins of something in the past. But those same torches that we found guarding a crypt, and the crypt is where we're gonna find the majority of the iron. And I say majority, a lot of people think that's the only place you'll find iron, but there's actually piles of muck out here in the swamp you can find, and if you dig in them, you have a chance to get iron as well. Here's another torch ahead, and that is a crypt. That's exactly what we need. Look at that, how lucky were we? Just got on shore and we already found a crypt. That's awesome. Okay, as I mentioned, you should bring a hoe with you. The reason is, when you've got spots like this, you should take the time to build a trail for a fast getaway. Let me get over by our boat, and I'm gonna make a trail from our boat to that crypt so we can kind of quickly get in and out. Because it's gonna take several loads of iron. Crypts are just about guaranteed to have iron in it. If you find a crypt, you found iron. Iron is much, much easier and far better than bronze. Unlike bronze, which you have to have 2 tin and 1 copper to make 1 bronze bar. So it will not take us nearly as long to create some good iron things once we've mined the iron. And this is another reason you want to go kind of stamina heavy when it comes to foods. But we do need to kill these guys because they're going to drop an ingredient that we can use in several recipes. Running. Look at that, he's running. I just followed his health bar to find him. Just shot under the health bar. Same with this guy. I can't really see the leech right now, but shoot a little bit under his health bar and you'll get him. There we go. We get the blood bag and we unlock a mead base, a frost resistance. There was another mead base there. A banner. A few things. Okay, let's get back to making a path. There we go. We've got a walkway right up to crypt. This is it here. This is a crypt. This is where you're going to find the majority of the iron in the swamp. This is also why you need the swamp key. The swamp key unlocks these doors. So you really can't get in there, at least not without using exploits, without the swamp key. And there's also an undead burial ground right here. There's basically little spawners for draugrs and skeletons typically found in these spots. There's oftentimes a chest. I think that's it right there. There's a chest right there. But you really, early on, you really don't want to mess with draugrs. Not unless you have to. And we're going to have to when we get inside the crypt. So we're going to leave these guys alone. This guy's coming up on us right now. I don't think he sees us yet, but definitely suspicious. Oh, they're all coming this way. Look, the fact they're heading straight towards us means they're kind of suspicious. They either heard me or saw some movement this way. I really don't want to take on 3 draugrs, I'll be honest. I should have just opened that door and got inside instead of showing you around, but it is what it is. Find ourselves in the situation we find ourselves in. Stopped. Oh, he's wandering the other way. Something the same thing. One stopped. Archer's still coming around. So if I attack the archer, chances are the other 2 are gonna be alerted. And like I said, you should avoid a draugr when possible early on. But if you've watched my videos before, you know I don't follow my own advice. I think we did it without alerting the others. Wooden arrows. Okay. Oh. Is that another archer? They got their backs turned. How in the hell did I miss? He going. Alright, he's alerted. Oh! Good hit. But see, troll armor still gives you enough defense. Oh, I'm doing a poor job here. Enough defense to survive those attacks. Parrying is key early on, because parrying you take even less damage than you will by blocking. And of course it stuns them for a second, letting you do critical strike. So we dropped all 3 Draugrs, and you will want to pick up the entrails, because they are going to give you access to a fantastic food called sausages. One of the best foods for the majority of the game. All right, so we got the swamp key. We're going to go ahead and just interact with the door, pop it open, and let's go inside. Okay, welcome to the inside of a sunken crypt. Now generally you get in, there's 3 ways you can go: a right, a middle, and a left. Although sometimes, just like any of these instance dungeons, one of those paths can be blocked off. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go left first, so let's just get to digging. Now, when you start breaking these, oftentimes there's actually monsters. Look at that, scrap iron, sweet. That 1 scrap iron, we get it home and smelt it, that becomes 1 iron ingot. That's it, it's that simple. Nothing like bronze at all. But as I was saying, on the other side of a lot of these piles is actually mobs. You have blobs, it looks like. Got one over there. Yeah, blob. They're toxic. They jump towards you and then put out like a gas. They spray in all directions, and if you're in the cloud, you're poisoned. And it's a pretty mean poison. And then there's also Draugrs, a couple different kinds. There's the bowmen, there's melee, and then there's like Draugr elites. They're big old hulking bastards with like a 2-handed sword, do massive damage. Anyway, so you want to do is you actually just want to make a small little peeky hole. Damn. So you can see through it, but they can't get to you. Now you have to watch out for the archers. I just got shot by one. He can shoot through that crack, but he can't come through. You can see him trying, but he can't. So if I show myself, he'll begin aiming. Just a tip, when Draugr begin aiming, they won't stop aiming. They're dedicated to the shot. Even if you go behind the corner, they'll still shoot. So you can actually get them to aim at you as soon as they go around the corner to shoot, hit them, and go back around the corner again. Watch, I'll let it over to aims. He shoots anyways, even though he can't see me, and that leaves me an opening to shoot him. Alright, so he aims, he shoots, I finish. So we can just sit here and pick him off right through the crack here without them being able to do anything to us. The only ones you have to watch out for is archers. If there's no Draugr archers, you're not in danger. Just keep this crack too small for them to come through. Alright, I don't hear or see anything else in there, so we're going to go ahead and take our chances and break this the rest of the way. Now, scrap iron is heavy, so you don't want to bring too much in your pockets. Nothing more than you need, just so you can maximize the amount you can take. Oh, alright, killing that slime got us ooze, which make an ooze bomb. There's some more entrails. So far, so good, though. There we go. Withered bone we just picked up. The only purpose those serve is to spawn the boss of the swamp. You need 10 of those withered bones to spawn Bonemass. He's a giant, sloppy, slimy guy. Real tough, considered one of the toughest bosses in the game, at least up into Mistlands. But there's a really easy way to cheese him, and I plan on taking advantage of that just because it's just so much simpler to do it the way I'm going to show you. Alright, so sometimes you get little corridors like this, and they will have usually 2 chests. We've got 2 in this one, and there's some other stuff just kind of lay on the shelves. We got some pearl, amber, and then the 2 chests. Now, what's nice about the chests is they have a good chance of having iron scraps in them, and when they do, you get quite a few at once. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. That's kind of like best case scenario with the chests. We're going to get a bunch of scrap iron, so that's less digging we have to do. We got 19 off this one. Look at that, plus 37 gold and 3 rubies. So the treasure chests you see are getting a lot better than they were, in previous biomes. It scales up like that. We're going to use these chests to store the stuff we can't take with us right now. That way it's easy to find when we get back. So let's see if we pull out 3 of these, how much weight we drop. Okay, not quite there. It's probably going to take 2 more. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take this back to the boat and load it, and then on to the next thing. Now, of course, I can just head to the boat and back and not even bother filming it, but I'm gonna take this time to show you a couple other things in the swamp. There's a few things you're gonna want to look for while you're here, and one of them is turnips. Now, they're kind of hard to spot, and they're not that common, but there's a good chance you'll find one in every swamp. It's a little yellow flowery plant. Once you find one and get a seed, you can grow turnips, and you'll need those to upgrade your kettle and get all kinds of new powerful recipes. Plus, there's some really good foods that take turnips. But turnips are one of the few vegetables that you can't just eat by itself. So you need to, it's an ingredient only. So you're gonna find turnips typically around these trees. Just look for yellow flowers. Other things to look for is guck. These green, like pussy blisters on these trees. They drop guck. It's not super useful, but you will need it for a few things. And if I remember correct from the upgraded bows, the Draugr. So this guck right here is down real low where we can get it easily. You can, of course, build a ladder and platforms up there if you need to. Don't forget, this is Valheim. You can build yourself the sky as long as you support it. And it just so happens that these trees count as ground support, so you can connect things to them and it acts as foundation. And there we go, we got some guck. And this got us a couple new items, including a type of banner for decoration, which also gives you a rested bonus. There's a turnip. You know, it's funny, I was looking past the turnip over to those over there and just happened to glance down and see the turnips themselves. There's two of them here side by side. That's a rarity. Let's get a good look at these so you can so you know what you're looking for. That is a turnip. Okay, another thing you'll look for is ancient wood. And that's these big trees, but not the big ones. You can't cut those down. They're just too dang thick. But you'll find smaller ones like this right here. You can cut this down and you're going to get ancient wood. The thing is, I'm going to go ahead and drop empty my pockets before I show you that because, you know, like wood, it's kind of heavy. It's, I think, 2 pounds a piece. So let's empty our pockets so we can at least do that. There's not much storage in a car. Once you get the Longship, you'll get much more storage, but these 4 should do for now. Let's go ahead and fell one of these trees and show you the new ingredients, show you the new recipes. Roll this back up on the shore, close enough at least. With the middle of the tree. There we go, ancient bark, we got battle axe, iron buckler, bonfire. We got some more. I'm gonna pull some treasure out and put the ancient bark in instead. Boat. Up to 8. Let's go for one more. Oh, I heard him coming and I knew he was gonna be there. I just didn't react fast enough. Reflex is a little slow today. Parrying is key. If you're not comfortable parrying, then just block, and once he hits, counter. If you take damage while blocking a significant amount, then try to back up and outsmart him. Use like the logs to break pathfinding, and use your bow to pick them off. Just take your time. Try to run more circles. If you have something pursuing you, you're trying to kite and shoot. Just kind of run in circles, because if you go running through the swamp, you're going to keep pulling more and more ads, and eventually you get to a point where you just signed your own death warrant. Trying to see if he's a bowman. I think he's an archer. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and fight fire with fire here. Got him. You get a sneak attack on these guys. That's just a wooden arrow. Sneak attack with a wooden arrow and a fully upgraded bow. Oh, I just want to get him before I... Dang it. Anyways, fully upgraded find with bow and wood arrows, and you can drop those guys as long as you sneak attack them. Now, I'm going to show you the Atgeir. This one I get is optional, and I went for a long time when I first started playing this game without even trying it out. But now that I've tried it, I love it. and it's perfect for swamp and actually mountains because of wolves. All right, well, he ran off. We're gonna go ahead and intentionally kite him. I know we're getting distracted, we're working on iron, but that's stuff I want to show you here to make you more comfortable in the swamp. Okay, you can use it to block, but it doesn't do the greatest job, and like you saw, I took damage. Depending on what your armor class is, though, you can completely block the damage. But what'll happen is if you just hit the attack button, it'll poke. I am intentionally missing him because he doesn't have much health, and as soon as I hit him, he's gonna die, but I just want to show you. So it'll stab straight ahead, and that's useful. It's a quick attack, doesn't use as much stamina as the special attack, but the real point of having this is to keep things away from you. So if you press the middle mouse button in, it does a swirl attack, and that would happen to kill him, but if it doesn't kill him, it'll push him out past the boundary of the Atgeir. So it knocks them like 10 feet away, and can kind of keep them at a distance from you while you're trying to navigate to wherever you're going. And each time it hits, it does a fair amount of damage to him too. So if you're stuck out there in the wilderness, you can't quite get to cover or shelter or wherever you're trying to head, you can just slowly eliminate them while keeping that safe distance. The only thing you have to worry about is it does use up a bit of stamina. The iron one uses up a lot more stamina. Bronze will use up stamina. If you run out of stamina or don't have enough to attack, then you're basically screwed. Now, another thing to look out for in the swamps are these flame geysers. It's just essentially fire shooting out of the swamp, but it acts as a spawn point for Surtlings, which are these extra dimensional fire beams that launch, fireballs at you. This is a really bad environment for them because everything's wet. Their fire really doesn't have any impact, and so they're really not that dangerous. What you want to do is just clear out the area of them, and then grab your hoe, get down into the water. If you have to dig with your pick to get lower, do so, and then just lower the ground so that it's just about beneath the water. In fact, you want almost all of it to be beneath the water, except for a small amount. You want a small amount of land to peak above it, at least while the tide's out, which will give a spot for the Surtlings to spawn. Now, they'll still spawn in the water if there's no land around, but they'll spawn more often if there's land to spawn on. The thing is, the tide is always changing, so as the tide comes in and the water level rises, the Surtlings are stuck in the water and have no choice but to die. You can spend a nice, quiet, peaceful evening watching Surtlings spawn and die again and again. And in the morning, just go collect all the coal and Surtling cores that they dropped throughout the night. And life is good. Now, there's one creature that you need to be very aware of in the swamp. It's a behemoth, and it's quite dangerous, especially at these lower levels. They're easy to miss because when they're resting, they look like a tree trunk sticking out of the water, but they'll have like a green mist around them. But when you get close, it'll wake them up and they'll come out and hunt you down. They're an undead hunk of tree mass, like possessed roots or something, and it's very aggressive, does lots of damage. It's also fun to play with. Anyways, when you kill the Abomination, it'll drop several items, but the most useful one is called the Roots, and it's used to make the Root Armor, which is a new armor set you'll unlock in the swamp. It's a wooden armor set, gives you resistance to poison, but makes you more susceptible to fire. It's a total optional choice, just a little bit better than the Troll Armor. If it's not something that interests you, then you can just completely avoid these guys. There's nothing really else of value other than a little guck, but that's easy enough to get off the trees. I have an entire video on Abominations. I highly recommend you check it out. I'll have a link in the description. I'm just trying to get a good look at him for you. We certainly don't want him to spot us. Oh, I think he's aware of us. Oh yeah. Yeah, he knows we're here.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Okay, so we need to go ahead and hightail it out of here. See if we can maybe stay out of the water. It's best to weave through trees because they have to stop and go around, and that gives you time to kind of recover your stamina or get away. But I think we're good. I think we lost him. Yeah, now these little forts here don't usually have much more in them than a chest, and of course some mobs. But there's a chance to have a boss stone showing where Bonemass, the third boss, is. Oh, look at that. I no sooner finished my sentence and there's one right there. He's actually not far from here. We are here. He is here. That is excellent. So you want to keep an eye out for these. Obviously, as you just saw, these forts can hold a boss stone. So can the sunken crypts in the hallways where you find the treasure chests tucked into the walls. Now, one of the last things we need to find in the swamp, and this is something you certainly want to find in your game, and that's a wraith, because they drop chain, and that's an important ingredient in several new items that we need access to. It's possible to find chains in chests throughout the swamp, but you're guaranteed to get a chain off a wraith. But be careful, because wraiths hit super hard, and they usually end up sneaking up on you because they hang at the treetops of the swamp and they only come out at night. Well, they'll oftentimes spot you before you spot them, because how often are you looking up? Well, they'll glide down quickly towards you and will sneak right up on you completely silently. The only sign you'll have is a glow around you right before they strike. So keep your eyes peeled when you're at the swamp at night. You definitely want to find them before they find you. And it looks like I've been ambushed. Every single creature in this swamp is waiting for me here. So Mama didn't raise no fool. We're going inside. And we're gonna go ahead and stay inside, probably for the night. Really, it's not too bad in here. You get used to the smell eventually. Maybe. Oh, there's one right there. Stay in here so you can get a look at him come out of the ground. It's pretty wild, but I should go ahead and take this time to get the hell out of here. Okay, yeah. Come on. Move, boat. Gosh. Whew. Swung a little low there. He has this over-the-top attack, though, that'll mess it. Well, look at that. He's helping us out to sea. Hey, thanks, pal. Wow, that really helped out. All right. Let's see if we can pass him up before he catches up. And go. Okay. Go. There we go. We're gonna straighten it up so we get the most speed going, because if he swings, we want to be out of the way of this attack. Like, we don't want to get hit by that thing. Oh, looks like he's giving up and going home. And so are we. Now, when you're out in the ocean at night, there's a good chance a sea serpent spawn. In storms, it's twice as good. So the best time to find one is at night during a storm, just like this one. And here we go, you see off to my port side or left side, that is a sea serpent. And that serpent makes some of the best food in the game. And you can access it with the iron they find in the swamps. That is to say, you can make a cooking station that will hold this wonderful rack of ribs that we're gonna get off this thing. Oh! Woo! Okay, so if you're just after the meat, all you gotta do is kill a sea serpent. And the easiest way to do that is just with a whole bunch of arrows. Oh, you just don't want to shoot your own boat like I just did. Luckily, he'll miss a lot because he stops when he goes to bite. And if you're going at pretty good speed, you usually get past him. So if you kill a sea serpent in the water, sea serpent always drops two things. It drops serpent scales, which are used to make a tower shield. Really nice looking one too. And it drops serpent meat, which you use for food. The meat floats, so if you kill a sea serpent in the water, there's no loss. Oh, shoot. Guess I should have been watching where I was going. All right, we'll see if we can keep him here. Actually, at this point, I can go in and just melee him. He got scared. I'm getting drug out to sea and I have no stamina. Okay, as long as he has something to attack, he'll stay around here. So, looks like the serpent's got his eye on that Grey Dwarf. Yeah. Oh, and the Grey Dwarf's mad about it. Look at that. He's gonna take him on. And throw a rock at me. You just like picking fights with anybody, don't you? Oh, no, he missed. I'll help him. All right, the thing is, if Sea Serpent gets too weak, he'll sometimes take off running. But not this one. Okay, so here we go. See the meat floating to the top, but the scales dropped down below. So if you get the Sea Serpent down in deep water, you'll have no chance to get the scales. So because of that, you want to drag the Sea Serpent onto shore if you're after the scales. In order to do that, you need a harpoon. And if you want to know how to get one of those, I've got a video on it.
Link in the description.
But the meat is actually probably the more useful part, the one you use more often, and that just floats to the top. So you just gotta swim by to get that. Now, luckily the scales are actually close up to shore that I think I can get those. Just get a little jump. Ah, there we go. All right. There we go. We can now make a serpent scale shield, which is both a great tower shield and a great decoration. So whichever you prefer, and we'll put that meat to use a little bit later. This is a nice excursion though. There's home. How sweet she is. And since we got here at night, I have nothing better to do than go and smelt up this iron. Let's get the kiln filled up. Just kick back and relax. Good to be home. It's not a bad way to spend the night. Okay, let's grab some of these up and see what we can make. All right, so we can make iron nails, which that's going to give us Longship, Raven Throne, Armor Stain, all kinds of good stuff. We can make an iron buckler, iron greaves, iron scale mail. I need more iron ingots to do this stuff. Let's see what else we got here. These are pretty much just all upgrades to your other stuff. Iron axe, great choice. Ah, here we go. Huntsman Bow. This will make a huge difference in your game. A lot more damage, more rain. Arrows will fly straighter. Got iron tower shield. But we've got other things that we can make that are going to improve our lives. So let's check them out. All right, so one thing we want to do before we really get into making a whole lot of stuff is we are going to go plant these turnip seeds because we are going to need them for a very important item. All right, we got 6 seeds, so that is 6 turnips. Now, when those grow, we'll go on and make some new things. Okay, so one of the cool things you can make is a stone cutting table. We're gonna slap this down right here. It takes 10 wood, 2 iron, 4 stone, and to be near a workbench. So by setting this down, this will give us a new option. We take the hoe and right click. You'll now have the option here, paved road. So just by clicking the ground, rather than smoothing the dirt or flattening it out, we'll actually make a stone path. Get that. Kind of bringing civilization to our front door. Okay, so some of the other items we can make with the Stonecutter, other than just stone paths, in the building section, you're gonna see maybe stone walls. We got a stone wall 1 by 1. Stone wall 2 by 1, and that'll snap together with the other one. You can even rotate, it'll still snap. The stone wall 4 by 2. So now we can make castles. The stone pillar also snaps. And stone arch. Oh, of course there's nothing to support it, so it broke. Let's try it this way. Ah, look at that. Also, these stone stairs and then the stone floor. So we're going to slap stone floor there, and then you can make more stairs go up even higher, so on and so forth. And while we're at it, let me go ahead and drag over the forge, and I'll show you some of the other things with it. All right, so let's get our forge down, and that's going to open up the other options here. You got iron gate. You can also do cage floor, cage wall, cage wall 1 by 1, and the cage floor 2 by 2. Look at this too. And this and this. And now, real quick, I want to show you something kind of cool you can make. If you've seen my video before, Trogdor's world, I took you to a buddy of mine's world where he just enjoys building things in the game. And through him, I learned something pretty cool and crafty. If you ever want to have fire indoors for like effect, just grab either the 2 by 2 floor or the 1 by 1, depending on how big of a fireplace you want. Lay that in the ground or here in like this wooden frame, and then you can place a fire right on top of it. And so you can have the campfire indoors, right on a wood floor if you want. You just raise it up using one of these grates right here, and it makes for pretty cool decoration. Now that right there may not be the coolest. Maybe you don't like that one, but you could use beams instead. Depending on what you like the looks of. No, actually I like that with both. I'm gonna go ahead and lay this with it. I like it. That was a happy accident. In crafting, right here, the iron cooking station. With that. Now, it may not seem so cool yet, but if we go to miscellaneous and we pick the hearth, we put that under it, and we toss some wood in it. Oh, look at that. Now, let's say we just got back from hunting serpents, and we interact with the cooking station. Oh, look at that. Woo, grilling up some serpent meat. Yeah, you want to eat good, eat serpent. Anyway, so the cooking station that holds 5 things at a time and actually can cook larger meats like this, which the normal cooking station cannot do. Very handy. Now, another great upgrade that you can now make with the help of iron is a reinforced chest. It's so much nicer looking and so much more storage. Check this out. Look at that. So a normal chest, you got 10 slots. Check this puppy out. 24 slots. More than double. So it looks nicer. It holds a lot more. We can replace all these ugly wooden chests with reinforced chests. Also, option to make a personal chest. A personal chest is one that only you can open. It is a much smaller storage area, which is 6, but it does give you a little bit of privacy, and it looks kind of cool. Now, another item we can make that's useful for both storage and decoration is the armor stand, found under Furniture tab. On here, armor stand. Little nub on it holds a shield. That's the back of it. So we're going to rotate that away from us and place that right there. And then you can move armor up here, or action slot, and then just hitting the number that corresponds with the piece you want to put on there. Like 5. I'll press 5 on the keyboard. 6, 7, 8. And while I am naked, I now have all my armor right here, and then just to interact with it, takes it all off the stand. Okay, and another item that we can make in the furniture tab is the standing iron torch. Just takes 2 iron, 2 resin to be near a forge. And that is a much nicer torch to decorate with. There are different colors as you find stuff, like right here with the guck, we can make a green one. And there are other colors that you can get from unlocking different recipes. All right, so for the next upgrade, we are gonna need these turnips that we planted. Okay, so one of the best upgrades you're gonna be able to do once you get back from the swamps, once you've collected the turnip, you're gonna be able to get the spice rack. Now we need to mount the spice rack, so we're just gonna grab a wood beam, 1 meter, and we're gonna put it, I guess right about there. Okay, then we go to crafting, and we pick the spice rack, and we're just gonna put it right at the bottom of that. There. It hangs, so you need to give it something to hang on, and we're just gonna hang it directly right there with the fire. You could put it up higher, you can put it on the side, depending where you want, of course, but I'm probably gonna move that. But for now, what that does is that gives us access to new recipes. Look at that as you get closer. Sausages is one of them. That's one of the best food recipes in the game, at least up until end game. So let's take a look over here. We can now make black soup, which gives us 50 health and 17 stamina. We can make the muck shake, which is 16 health and 50 stamina. And look, we get the ooze from the swamps. Other than that, it's just berries. Real easy to make. Turnip stew, of course, with the turnips. Throw some boar meat in there with 3 turnips, and we got 55 stamina and 18 health. Once you kill a wolf, you can make some wolf jerky, and that's fire right there. That's 33, both health and stamina. Okay, but the one that get excited about is sausages. So with 4 entrails that drop from the drogger and a boar meat, a little sprinkled in thistle, and you have an awesome meal at 55 health, 18 stamina. Lasts 25 minutes, and you get 4 of them. So that is a favorite of mine. And now it's time to build our new ship, the Longship, with 100 iron nails, 10 deer hide, 40 fine wood, 40 ancient bark, and a workbench nearby. We can make the fastest ship currently in the game. Now I say fastest. It's not the most agile or quick turning, but once you get some wind on your sails and get moving, this puppy cooks. Take her out to sea so you can see it yourself. All right, get her with the wind. We can really get moving. Now, on top of being the fastest ship, and obviously the largest, she got all kinds of storage space. Look at this. And can also take the most damage. So if you were gonna go serpent hunting, this is the ship you really want. It can be done in a carve. I oftentimes will hunt in a carve, but ultimately, for your safety and to get out to sea and back to shore quickly, this would be the one I recommend. This is currently the best ship in the game, generally speaking. The carve is more agile, and actually the carve is faster if you're on gear 1. You're just paddling your way through it. The carve is actually faster. When it comes to sailing, yeah, there's nothing even close to the Longship. Okay, you're going to need to make a choice whether you want to upgrade your bow yet or not. You see, the route we're going to take against Bonemass is to basically get up high and shoot him to death. Well, he's so resistant to damage that it takes a lot of arrows to kill him. It's easy to do, but it takes some time, and it takes so many arrows that you're going to need to repair your bow mid-fight. So if you keep the fine wood bow, you only need to bring a crafting table with you to the fight. But if you upgrade it beyond that, like to the Huntsman's Bow, you're going to need to bring a forge as well, because you can only repair it on a forge due to its metal content. And the Huntsman Bow will serve you well. In fact, either bow will. It's completely up to you. I highly recommend using an upgraded bow because it's going to save you arrows and time against the boss. Plus, it's going to save your life, in innumerable encounters. Okay, to upgrade to the Huntsman Bow, we need 10 fine wood, 20 iron, 10 feathers, and 2 deer hide, which we happen to have. So we're gonna go ahead and craft that. Excellent. Now we're gonna need good arrows. That's completely up to you what arrows you want to use, but understand that Bonemass can resist almost all forms of damage, and so most arrows, well, they're close to worthless, really. In fact, the only arrow that's very effective against Bonemass is the frost arrow, but you don't unlock that until the mountains, and I want to kind of avoid anything mountains related until we, cross that bridge in the future. So we're going to play this out with what can only be found up to this far in the game, and that means we're going with iron arrows. And I'm going to make a lot of them because I'm not sure how many it's going to take. Typically, I use frost arrows for this. But by the time we kill him in this video, we're both going to know about how many iron arrows it takes to kill Bonemass. So let's get to making some arrows. Okay, so before we head out, let's make sure we have everything we need. We have our bow, leveled up once. We have our arrows, 300 of them, at least to start. We've got our materials for our forge, as well as 10 extra wood for the crafting table. We've got good food, 10 withered bones to summon the boss. And then I've got a couple stacks of wood in the cargo hold of the carve. That way we can build the structure that we'll be killing Bonemass from once we get there. So, looks like we're ready. Let's head out and once and for all, put an end to the nauseous reign of Bonemass. Here we are. This is what the Bonemass spawner looks like. Just a giant skull with like a bubbling mouth. Kind of cool, kind of unique for the game. I dig it. So if we want to summon Bonemass, we just have to sacrifice the 10 withered bone onto this altar. But first, we need to establish a base. This base is going to be up high because we're going to get above where Bonemass can attack us, and we're just going to shoot him to death. And this turns one of the most difficult boss fights into one of the easiest. I'm going to clear out the enemies here, and then I'm going to start hauling in wood from the boat and put our home together. Okay, guys, let's do this. All right, so we head to the Boiling Death, and we offer item, 10 withered bones, and then we quickly make our way. We're going to go ahead and watch him spawn real quick. Oh, there he is. Not so tall. We could have probably made our fort a little shorter. Okay. Now we'll just wait till he works his way over here. Assuming he works his way over here. Yeah, he's coming. Now see that? Look at it on the roof there. We got skeletons and a blob trying to get to us. That is the importance of a roof. Well, he might take him a little while, so we're just gonna start shooting him right through here. Got my wrong arrows, but that did such a small amount to him, it really won't count. All right, we got the right arrows this time. 300 of them. Got Bonemass in our sights. Let's go ahead and see how many arrows it takes. Oh, this will take all 300. Well, guys, anytime I've ever done this method, it was using frost arrows, which is his weakness. But for this, I really wanted to keep the method within the range of what you've discovered so far, not going to the next biome. And sadly, he is just far too resistant to any other kind of arrow. So we're going to do this the traditional way. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure we have all the right supplies, everything we need. We're going with the area effect weapon. If you haven't found the merchant yet in your world, then go ahead and bring the stag breaker. The principles will be the same. The fight will go the same. You'll just do a bit less damage. If you have found the merchant though, then take the time to go ahead and make the iron sledge. It's really going to shave off time in this fight. Beyond that, we have the 10 withered bones we need to summon Bonemass, and then we have our very much needed poison resistance mead. Everything he does is toxic, and most of the enemies he throws at you are toxic. And so if we can really minimize that damage and effect on us, it's going to be great for us. And then also, we're also bringing medium healing meads. Of course recommended, but not required. This is just in case things go south. That's really mainly going to be it. So let's go ahead and head on out and put an end to Bonemass. We're going to go ahead and pop our poison resist mead. 10 minutes. 10 minutes of resist. Here we go. Every time Bonemass takes a deep breath and rears back, he's getting ready to do that big toxic gas attack. The reason you want the sledgehammer or the stag breaker for this fight primarily is for those ads, those extra mobs that try to jump in on the fight, which he summons them. Bonemass can't really go up He'll throw things up at you, but you can get above him at a certain point. He can't really harm you or affect you. I don't think we're quite there. Did you see that? Slamming his skull here does damage to him. Not because the skull does, but because he's within range of the area effect. So we do have to watch out for his toxin. His toxin is obviously, he can hurt us with that. Go ahead and fill up a little bit here. Back to work. Just keep an eye on that meat resist, that poison resist meat. If it wears out, you'll be in big trouble. Now, as you can see, this is kind of a long fight. If you're by yourself, much faster with a friend or two. I already used more healing potions than I expected to. I highly recommend, if you watch this video to learn this fight, you're going to need to heal pots yourself. That's it. That's his trophy right there. Glubbering, nasty moving head. We just gotta clear out these ads, collect our loot, and head home. Just come down swinging. Make sure you're the first to attack. Should be all you. All right. On the last swing of the last mob, we break our hammer. Couldn't have timed that any better. All right, the Bonemass trophy, and more importantly, the Wishbone. The Wishbone is the main reason to kill Bonemass. That's gonna pretty much open up the whole next generation of technology for you. As the next metal you need to find in the game is silver, and that's underground in the mountains. But by equipping the Wishbone, it acts as a metal detector, well, for really anything valuable. So if you approach any buried treasure or valuable metal, the Wishbone will alert you by signaling with rays of light and making an audible noise. And the closer you get to the hidden valuables, the more frequent and a higher pitch the alarm gets. So when you get to the peak, where the noise is the fastest, just begin to dig, and here we go. Look at that, a muddy scrap pile. Those are the piles that we found in the sunken crypts that had the scrap iron in it. Well, you can locate them actually outside the crypts, out here in the world, with the help of the Wishbone, as they're buried under the dirt in the swamp. And here we are again, ready to hang yet another enemy of Odin on the wall. So we have Bonemass Forsaken Power, which makes us resistant to most forms of damage. Let's go ahead and test it out. Oh, we're at 82 damage. Let him hit him. That is 64. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and use the ability. Start again. Go from 68 to 63. We only take 5 damage that time. So significant damage resistance, which would be a very useful power, especially if you plan on going into a very dangerous place. And that brings us to the conclusion of this video. You now know everything you need to know about the swamps and Iron Age in Valheim. And with that, we can chalk up yet another success. You have done well. You've become a master of yet another domain. But this is not the end of your task. For there are more lands out there that need retaking for the glory of Odin. So go forth and claim what is rightfully Odin's. Take back this land and restore its greatness in Valheim!